Is Anoop Watts. He is a business coach, he is a life coach, and he is the author of The Cohesion Stamp. I have millions of questions for him. Let's see. Where is our guest? And I think we all want to know business mantra, how to be successful. Let's hear from our guest. Hi, dear friends. आप सब कैसे हो? Let's see, is Anoop here? Does Anoop join us? लाइफ में हम सब सक्सेसफुल बनना चाहते हैं एंड देर आर लॉट ऑफ सीक्रेट्स, देर आर कोचेस जो कि हमें बहुत अच्छी चीज़ें सिखाते हैं कि हम अपनी मॉर्निंग रूटीन कैसे करें, दिन का रूटीन कैसे करें, लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स. एनीवेज, लेट्स सी वेयर इज अनूप वॉट्स. अनूप वॉट्स अभी वो लंदन में है, लंदन में रहते हैं, तो उनका टाइम हमारा. Let's go. Hi, Anup. How are
Hi,
you?
Leslie. How are you?
Uh, Anup, I'm very excited regarding your book, The Cohesive Stamp. Can you tell about it? Cohesion Stamp.
The cohesion
Can you
stamp.
tell more about this? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So, firstly, look, thank you very much for having me on the show. And I've been watching a lot of your interviews, and I love the array of diversity that you have. From business people to artists to a large level of support for up and coming artists. And what I sort of like to do, and what I've done over many of the years when I was compiling my book, the Cohesion Stamp, is really being aware of people, human beings, habits, successful habits, those habits that lead to results that are generally results that we might not desire. So I've traveled the world extensively, and I've been very fortunate in able to be able to travel for business, for work, for charity. Yet simultaneously, my very character is to be very aware. Some might use the word being a little bit nosy. Some might say aware. For me, it was really a study because it's a hobby. And I like to really have a look at, what makes people tick. And when I look at your work, one particular thing that really stands out for me is momentum. And that's one of the things in my book that I largely talk about. Because मुझको मालूम है आपको थोड़ी आपने बोला था थोड़ी हिंदी में भी बात करनी, तो जो आपके व्यूअर्स हैं, नमस्ते, सत श्री अकाल, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, wherever you're from, hello, привет, как дела, international. This is one of the beautiful things of Instagram. जो लोग Instagram में connect करते हैं सभी दुनिया से ना, तो ये जो बुक मैंने लिखा हुआ है ना, 2 साल में इंडिया में भी था, तो इंडिया में हो, चाइना में हो, यूएस में हो, यूके में हो, humans are humans, and we all have our needs, we all have our desires. So largely the book, The Cohesion Stamp, is bringing together a lot of what हमको जब हम बुक पढ़ते हैं ना, हम प्रैक्टिशनर्स को देखते हैं, साइंस के सीखते हैं, दिमाग का सीखते हैं, तो थोड़ी कंफ्यूजन भी हो सकती है ना, क्या करें, अरे ये हमको बोल रहे हैं ऐसे करना, फिर मैंने और किताब में देखा वो बोल रहे हैं ऐसे करना है, फिर थोड़ी बहुत कंफ्यूजन हो जाती है. सो इतना एजुकेशन कर करके लोग करते रहने दो यार, मैं तो बस आराम करेंगे, तो जो भी मैं करे, तो इधर से जो मैंने किताब लिखा हुआ है ना, मैंने कोशिश की है जितना भी मैं कर सकता हूं उनको सिंप्लीफाई करने का. तो वो सिंप्लीफाई का मतलब ये होता है कि जो भी लाइफ में बेसिक चीज होती है पहले से वो हम कर सकते हैं। तो उसमें दो चीज मिलते हैं। एक तो पहले हमको इतना डिस्ट्रेस नहीं लगता ना, हमको प्रेशर नहीं आता कि अरे ये करना है, सुबह 4 बजे उठना है, 5 बजे उठना है, ये वो हम रिलैक्स कर सकते हैं। तो फिर दूसरी बात ये आती है जो हम आपको बोल रहे थे, ये मोमेंटम की। मोमेंटम जब होता है जब आपने पहले आपकी लेस्ली शो किया, पहले से आपको थोड़ी सी शायद तकलीफ आई, थोड़ी सी थकावट आती है, थोड़े से प्रेशर आती है, अभी नेक्स्ट शो कब आएगा, कौन आएगा, ये वो। फिर एक आ गया, फिर दो आ गया, फिर तीन आ गया, फिर इतने आगे तो आप बोल रहे हैं तो अभी मेरा थोड़ा सा आइटिनरी करना पड़ेगा ना। तो हम ऐसे कर रहे हैं, जो सेम स्ट्रक्चर आपने आपके शो में किए ऐसे आप कोई भी कर सकते हैं। जो वो स्टूडेंट होता है यूनिवर्सिटी में, स्कूल में, वो भी सेम अप्रोच। बिजनेस जो करते हैं वो भी सेम कर सकते हैं। शादी करनी है तो वो भी सेम रिलेशनशिप में स्ट्रक्चर। तो वो वेरी वेरी बेसिक टू स्टार्ट विथ। फिर वो अचीव कर लिया, मोमेंटम मिल गया, खुशी चढ़ गई, फिर उससे नेक्स्ट लेवल आता है। समझ पाई कि मेरी हिंदी थोड़ी इतनी शुभ नहीं है।
नहीं, आपकी पंजाबी मिक्स हिंदी है, एंड आपके लिए ऑलरेडी देयर इज लॉट ऑफ अप्रिसिएशन आपके बैकग्राउंड को लेके। दैट ब्राउन किड 10 has appreciation for your background, and he is writing down the names of the people on your background,
yes.
and he's written them down, and ab bolega if they're all fine: Nelson Mandela, Chris Evans, Bruce Lee, Keanu Reeves, Joaquin Phoenix, Harley Quinn, Bob Marley, Steven Gerrard,
अरे क्या
Dalai
बात,
Lama, Mahatma Gandhi.
क्या बात भाई, क्या बात, that was amazing। अभी और
Yeah,
भी,
he's too brilliant.
और भी है। अभी अभी ये अभी इसका फर्स्ट एग्जाम पास हो गया। तो
Yeah.
वो तो और भी है इधर। तो हम फोटो खिंचवा के आपको भेजेंगे, तो आप आपके फॉलोअर को आप भेज सकते हैं, दिखा सकते हैं। ये हम जब थाईलैंड में काम करते थे ना, हमारा एक बिजनेस थाईलैंड में है, तो हम मार्केट में जा रहे थे। तो मार्केट में you know you're a lady, you love shopping, and तो मुझको दो चीजें बहुत एक्साइट करते हैं शॉपिंग में। एक तो स्टेशनरी, पता नहीं क्यों ये स्टेशनरी, ये चीजों देख के हमको बहुत ऐसे एक्साइटमेंट होते हैं। दूसरी चीज होती है ऐसे आर्ट का। तो इसका जॉनरर का नाम है पॉप आर्ट। तो पॉप आर्ट ये स्टाइल होता है। पर ये मुझको ये भी अच्छा लगता है, जो हम कोचिंग करते हैं। अभी मेरा मेन काम है, मैं लोगों को कोचिंग करता हूँ, 1-to-1 कोचिंग करता हूँ। ऑब्वियसली ग्रुप सेमिनार्स को थोड़ा टक्कर पड़ गया है कोविड के साथ, पर ये भी ठीक है। लाइफ में तो टक्कर पड़ते ही रहते हैं। कोविड हो कि नहीं कोविड हो, यही तो हम सिखाते हैं को आपको। जितना भी जब भी कोई तकलीफ आती है, ह्यूमन नेचर ऐसे होता है कि 80% लोग प्रॉब्लम का सोचते हैं, 20% सोल्यूशन का। एक्चुअली आप टर्न अराउंड करो ना, आप 80% सोल्यूशन देखो, 20% प्रॉब्लम। 20% आप प्रॉब्लम 80% प्रॉब्लम में देखो तो क्या मिलेगा?
Right, problems will attract more problems.
बिल्कुल। तो वो प्रॉब्लम भी इतनी दिक्कत आती है ना कि वो फिर मेडिकल प्रॉब्लम्स हो जाते हैं, बायोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम्स। मुझको खूब मालूम है जी।
तो ओके, यहाँ पे आई वुड द फैक्ट कि आपने ये टॉपिक छेड़ा है, एंड मेरे जहन में काफी सवाल है कि लोग सक्सेसफुल हो जाते हैं, बट सक्सेस को कंटिन्यू भी करने के लिए क्या मोमेंटम चाहिए, क्या मॉर्निंग रिचुअल्स चाहिए? बिकॉज आई थिंक आपके बुक में आपने ये विस्तार से समझाया है कि हाउ टू बी कंटिन्यूसली सक्सेसफुल। क्योंकि you know, जैसे मैं अपना एग्जांपल ले सकती हूँ कि I follow a lot of, you know, meditation practices. I listen to a lot of, you know, self-help stuff. Then I do it for like 15, 20 days, maybe a 30 days thing. Then I forget all about it. And then my, you know, सब ज़हन से निकल जाता है.
हाँ
How to continuously do it without getting bored? Because at times we get bored फ्रॉम सर्टेन रिचुअल्स. तो आप हमें कुछ टिप्स बताएं कि हमारा फूड हैबिट्स कैसा रहे, हमारा मॉर्निंग रिचुअल्स क्या रहे, सोने से पहले क्या रिचुअल्स हुए, सो दैट यू नो, मैंने सब पूछ लिया सो दैट आप अपने हिसाब से बोलोगे. बट क्या हो रहा है ये 2020 में, हम सबका हालत खराब हो गया है, हम सबके सपने, यू नो, अब सपनों पे ब्रेक लग
कभी का
गया
नहीं
है.
खराब हो गया. जिसने ऊंचा चढ़ना है वो ऊंचे चढ़ी जाते हैं. ठीक है. तो it's a very, 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 very intelligent, very good question. Okay, because they say knowledge is power. Okay, तो इसीलिए ये जो बात
ओके,
होती है.
बीच में और एक क्वेश्चन राउंड किट ने पूछा है, टू बी सक्सेसफुल व्हाट्स नेसेसरी, हार्ड वर्क और स्मार्ट वर्क. ये भी आप इसका भी जवाब दीजिएगा.
पहले हाँ
I have lots of questions for you. Sorry, there are
ठीक
so
है.
many questions.
हाँ हाँ हाँ. तो पहले आपका मैं जवाब दे सकता हूँ ना. तो आपको पहले एजुकेशन करना पड़ता है. आपको पहले से मैंने इसलिए ये बोला कि आपने वेरी इंटेलिजेंट क्वेश्चन पूछा, बिकॉज पहले से क्वेश्चन पूछा. आपने ये नहीं किया कि अरे ये काम नहीं करा, 20 दिन मैंने किया, बोर हो. आप पूछ रहे हैं ना कि क्यों ऐसे हो रहा है. दैट्स द फर्स्ट स्टेज. फिर आता है एजुकेशन. मैं देखूं क्यों. तो मैं आपको अभी जवाब देता हूं. जो हमारा दिमाग होता है ना, पहले हमको अंडरस्टैंड करना पड़ता है कॉन्शियस क्या होता है, सब कॉन्शियस क्या होता है. तो 90% जो हमारा दिमाग में है वो सब कॉन्शियस होता है. 10% कॉन्शियस होता है. मैंने पहले से आपको बोला मैं ट्राई करता हूँ सबको सिंप्लीफाई करने का, तो ये बात भी मैं कोशिश करूंगा. हम मेरे साथ में इम्प्रेस हो. मेरी हिंदी इज ऑलराइट टुडे. यूजुअली मेरी हिंदी तो अच्छी
आपकी
नहीं
हिंदी
होती.
बहुत अच्छी है और सबको
अभी
अच्छा
मैं
लग
भी
रहा है.
सोच रहा हूँ ये तो शुभ हिंदी है.
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा. और पता है, ये आप लंदन में हो और आपकी हिंदी भी लाइक यू नो काफी इंटरेस्टिंग है. थोड़ा सा वहाँ का टच भी है, थोड़ा एंग्लिसाइज्ड हिंदी है, मजा आ रहा है सुनने में. बट पंजाबी हिंदी भी, आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी पंजाबी हिंदी, ब्रिटिश मिक्स ऑफ हिंदी.
हाँ, ਘਰ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਣੀ ਹੈ ਫਿਰ ਤਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਹੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ, ਪਰ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. ਸਾਡੀ भारत की नेशनल लैंग्वेज हिंदी है, इसीलिए हम कोशिश करते हैं हिंदी बोलने के. ठीक है, इसलिए हम खुश है कि हिंदी अभी अभी भगवान ने मुझको देखा, बोलो हेलो आज हिंदी ले लो ना. तो तो ये जो सबकॉन्शियस होती है लेस्ली ना, ये सबकॉन्शियस में बहुत पावर होती है. ये सबकॉन्शियस होती है. जैसे मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ, आप सुन रहे भी नहीं कि ये क्या बोल रहे पर कुछ तो बोल रहा हूँ ना, तो वो सबकॉन्शियस सुन लेते हैं. तो वो सभी रजिस्टर होते हैं. तो जब आप रात में सोते हैं, वो आपका हार्ट बीट होता है, आपका किडनी चलते हैं, आपका सभी बॉडी चलता रहता है ना. वो आपका सब कॉन्शियस सब कुछ कर रहा है. आपको दिमाग में तो कुछ सोचना ही नहीं पड़ता. ठीक है. तो इसीलिए जब आपको लगता है कि मैं ये मोटिवेशन, ये मैं बोर हो रहा हूँ, carry on doing what you're doing. but ऐसे बैकग्राउंड में आप ये सुनेंगे ना, बॉलीवुड गाने में सुनेंगे कि कुछ शुभ एजुकेटिंग स्पिरिचुअल जो भी है, वो बैकग्राउंड में आप सुनेंगे ना, वो सबकॉन्शियस रजिस्टर करिएगा 100%. जैसे ये तस्वीरें मैंने लगाई है ना, जब मैं स्टूडियो में आता हूं मैं इसको देखता हूं, फिर हम ऐसे क्लोजली देखता हूं. डाई लामा इसमें लिखा हुआ है, where ignorance is our master, there is no possibility of real peace. गांधी में इधर से लिखा हुआ है, where there is love there is life. every day, my eyes, my five senses, I try to create a place of inspiration where I am reminded, whether I know it or not, then जो मेरा सबकॉन्शियस है वो रजिस्टर करता है ना, तो उसका बेनिफिट मिलता है, तो वो 90% जो सबकॉन्शियस होता है वो ऑटोमेटिक हो जाता है. That's the goal. And your job is two things: commitment and discipline and belief. You know, जो मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ, पहले आपको इच्छा होनी चाहिए कि ये सच बात बोल रहे हैं. फिर उससे बाद आपका डिसिप्लिन ये होना चाहिए कि कान से क्या सुन रहे हैं. वो वेद में भी लिखा हुआ है ना, श्रवणम कीर्तनम, hearing and chanting, and that was written 5,000 years ago, that the most powerful concept is through hearing and chanting. So if we're constantly reading Hindustani Times, if we're constantly watching Bollywood movies, and then we wonder why we're not making progress, why we're in anxiety, फिर मैं आपको ये solution 2 weeks के लिए देता हूँ. वो बकवास नहीं बोलूंगा, पर मैं बोलूंगा कि वो बंद कर दिए, हाँ, 2 weeks के लिए. तो वो रिप्लेस करना, जो हिंदुस्तानी टाइम्स है, अच्छा सा किताब पढ़ो. जो आप देख रहे हैं आपके सामने टेलीविजन में, वो इंस्पिरेशनल, मोटिवेशनल, एजुकेशनल देखो. फिर 2-3 weeks बाद मुझको बोलना फर्क पड़ा कि नहीं. ठीक है?
Wow.
तो दूसरा क्वेश्चन मैं भूल गया.
ओके, मैं आपको ब्राउन किड का बोलती हूँ. उसका सवाल था, इज इट लाइक डू वी गेट सक्सेसफुल बाय डूइंग हार्ड वर्क और स्मार्ट वर्क?
You can get successful both ways. Success is what is success. आप जो आपका डेफिनेशन, जो आप साधु को बोलेंगे सक्सेस क्या है, साधु बोलेंगे कि भगवान मिल गए. जो आप बिजनेसमैन को बोलेंगे वो शायद बोलेंगे पैसे, वो शायद बोलेंगे एम्पायर. वो सभी का डेफिनेशन पहले से ये देखना है सक्सेस क्या होता है. मैं आपको बोलूंगा आपका डेफिनेशन क्या है सक्सेस का, लेस्ली?
My definition of success is seeing myself. मैं थोड़ा personalize करके कहती हूँ. Seeing myself somewhere where I was not, like 10 years ago. I have risen from like 0 to a certain level. And you know, जो मेरे साथ ground zero पे थे, मैं वो रेस से ऊपर आ गई हूँ. For me, that's success. I have climbed the ladder, and that's from my hard work. Maybe मुझे time लगा. They didn't have ambitions, but I had ambition, or maybe I had my goals set. So जो मेरे साथ ground zero पे थे, या maybe they were studying with me on a, like, you know, class में पढ़ रहे थे, they might be in certain places. For them, I'm very successful because if they Google me, they find a lot of information about me. They're like, I have a fan base, and also maybe I'm little, like, you know, this is like, you know, this is not generalized, this is customized. For me, success is I have come somewhere where like nobody had imagined. A lot of people knowing me, these are success for me. Like, you know, these are a lot of things that
So
I've achieved as an actor.
In one word, it's growth, okay? And in where you gave a very nice example of saying, okay, if you were 20 years old and now you're 30 years old, in that 10 years, when you measure the impact, you know, have you grown, okay? So when I coach clients, I don't just say grown, okay? I break it down into 6 key areas. You've got financial, you've got relationships, you've got the mind, you've got spiritually, you've got serving and contributing, you've got body, you've got health, you've got diet. You know, we break it down into this category. So happiness is in growth, okay? जब आप देखते हैं कि अच्छा 1 साल में मैंने ये किया, I met my goals, I'm growing, you know, this makes you happy, it gives you momentum. Now, whether you worked harder or smarter, this has become like maybe, you know, in the last 2-3 years in the social media world, लोगों को पेजेस ये मोटिवेशनल इंस्पिरेशनल पेजेस होते हैं, किसी की फोटो ऐसे गाड़ी में ऐसे फरारी में खड़े होके बोलते हैं वर्क स्मार्टर वर्क हार्डर ये वो, पर उसका मतलब इंग्लिश में हम बोलते हैं एम्बिग्यूअस ना, इधर नहीं उधर नहीं. तो you can work smarter in different areas first. So if you're running a business, अच्छा तो मेरे 2 कंपनियां, I'm a CEO of UK Academia and obviously I'm the CEO of my coaching company. So what does working smarter for me mean? It means saving time but not compromising on value. So जो मेरा number 1 जब मैं business शुरू करता हूँ ना, तो top of the agenda is always value, you know, for my customers, for my staff, for everybody and anything involved, you know. I always believe for people who want to do business, just think about how you can offer value and then offer 10% more value on top of that. If you want a brand, if you want success, if you want longevity. So working smarter in that example could mean software systems, okay? जैसे आप accounting में आप सोच रहे हैं मुझको 1 घंटा दिन में लग रहा है ये वो, तो there's systems out there that can do that for you. That's working smarter because you've just saved yourself 7 hours a week, you know? Now, if you want to know my idea, Anoop, what's of what is working smarter? Now I'll take you to a different world, because my level of working smarter is much more than money, is much more than software, is much more than growth, because I know that beyond this human body, we have a consciousness. I know that beyond this exterior, we have a mind that has extreme power and vibration, that when we work on this, when we work on the science of the soul, when we work on the power of attracting and manifestation and abundance, that's when you work smarter more than anybody else, because you are working on yourself and you start your journey from here to here. And during this journey, you are learning about your consciousness. During this journey, you are learning about the power and the magic of the mind. During this process, you are learning that by doing less, you are achieving more. Now, when you are doing this, you are then moving into this realm of manifestation. And then you realize, Arewa, this is working smarter and not harder.
Okay, the fact that आपने manifestation की बात की और आपका अभी latest Instagram post मैंने देखा था, आपने visualization की बात की थी कि हम जो imagine करते हैं, visualize करते हैं, सपने देखते हैं, वो पाना मुमकिन है. तो उसके लिए आप हमें प्रोसेस बताइए कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं, या हमें एक चैलेंज दीजिए कि हम वो सब फॉलो करेंगे इन द नेक्स्ट 15 days. एंड देन जो भी फॉलो करेंगे whoever watches this, because I'll be posting this video in the IGTV, जो कि अभी मिस कर गए वो बाद में देख सकते हैं. सो उनके लिए ना वो खुद ही घर पे प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं, एंड देन दे कैन कम visit your website, they can come to your Instagram page Anup and give you their feedback. ऐसा हमें कुछ बताएं कि we'll take it as a challenge, manifestation challenge. December 2020 खत्म होने से पहले आप हमें कुछ tips and process बताएं.
So it's ये process, as much as it's universal, is also individual. Okay, So let me first summarize that जब मैं लोगों के साथ काम करता हूँ, mainly is one-to-one. जो आपका पर्पस है, जो आपका घर का सिचुएशन है, जो आपका गोल्स है, वो मैनिफेस्टेशन वो इधर है ना, जो आपकी इच्छा है, डिजायर है, is different for everybody. So what I can share when we're looking at this notion of a short challenge that everybody can adopt is, number one, awareness. Okay. Now, what is that awareness? This awareness. Okay. Number one of my favorite quotes and one of the number one teachings that I share with friends, family, clients, people I bump into in the street, my followers on Instagram, is based on this notion of gratitude. Okay. Your worst day is somebody else's dream in the world. Okay. So the first challenge is really imprint this in your mind. Know and remember this when you're in a place of stress, dikkut, anxiety, you know, where you think that you're having the worst day ever, and then just stop. You can be in a busy, loud place, or you could be in a quiet place. It doesn't matter. And say, my worst day is somebody else's dream in the world. And I stop and I look and I see a roof over my head. I see a invisible menu in my mind for dinner tonight. I have water. I have vision. I'm living in a time that in no time in history was there so many resources readily available for me to grow and make my dreams come true. And the list will go on and on and on. I created a reel on my Instagram called the cookie jar method. Now, I don't know if you've seen this, but
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so if you get little bits of paper and you write things on there, you can write your achievements, like, you know, you said, like, you like to see how you've grown over time. But during that journey, there were so many experiences, so many people that you met that really, you know, make you feel good and make you feel proud and give you momentum and put you back in place. And the list goes on. Write these down on little bits of paper, maybe 20, maybe 200. Put them in a box or a jar, okay? When you feel that you are feeling down or you feel anxiety, just randomly pick one of these out and it will be an anchor. We call it an anchor in the coaching world, if you may. And this is a good reminder. Now, it sounds very easy when I say become aware your worst day is your dream your worst day is somebody else's dream in the world, which is why I try and support people with strategies such as the cookie jar method. Yeah. Now, when you become aware of this, this is the best place to start. Now, the second element is we always have a choice, and this is the freedom of the mind element, Leslie. You can either have your mind as your friend or you can have your mind as your enemy. Now, this is written in the beautiful Bhagavad-Gita. This is not just something that is written in self-help books, you know. This is written in scriptural, spiritual injunctions. So this is where the depth of the mind goes. From 5,000 years ago, where, you know, at the start of this age, the Lord is already saying, be careful of your mind. You know, your mind can make you or it can destroy you. So again, by this awareness of knowing, number one, it's okay. And number two, you have a choice. Do you want your I also remember actually a wonderful example. Now, I don't know if you've ever read the Bhagavad-Gita as it is. It's written by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who's the founder of ISKCON. And on the front cover is a picture of Krishna on a chariot. And there's 5 horses, you know? And this picture is very significant because in one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada goes on to explain the 5 horses as the 5 senses, yeah, or the five different areas: the mind, the ego, the intelligence, etc. But you're the driver. You choose, you know, which direction the horses go. So that's where this notion comes in. And then I will summarize that, where if you're choosing your mind to be your friend or your enemy, then you also make another conscious thought. And you also have a choice. You can choose faith or you can choose fear. Okay? So that's why I said, you know, to simplify it for your viewers and for anybody who tries to do this from now on, in 2 weeks. Number 1, become aware. Gratitude. Your worst day is somebody else's dream in the world. Really dive deep, meditate on that. Number 2, you have a choice between making your mind your friend or your enemy. Make it your friend. And number 3, you always have a choice of faith over fear. Choose faith.
Great. यहाँ से I'm having another question that our mind, like कहते हैं ना, we keep at times we have some negative thoughts, you know, bombarding our mind. How can we get rid of them? Because at times it doesn't go away. It could be negativity, it could be gossip, something or the other. Now, kachra bhar jata hai, and like
Give
people
me
have
a proper
nightmares.
example, Leslie. Give me a. This is. I understand where you're coming from, and it's people tend to ask these questions, and they're very, very general. Let's make it real. Let's make it something that we go through.
Okay, जैसे आपने कहा कि and like everywhere we hear this positive thoughts and focus on all the good. 2020 की ही बात कर ले कि lot of work that has come to a pause, उससे क्या हो रहा है कि बार बार वो repeat हो रहा है कि अगर ये होता तो कितना अच्छा होता. You know, somewhere in my mind I'm not able to get that reel continuously playing in my mind कि you know, अगर ये 2020 में COVID नहीं होता तो you know, I would have been in USA shooting this that, like I feel miserable there. Now I'm not able to, like there are times when I'm feeling totally happy and then just I told you कभी कभी you know वो happiness सब switch off हो जाता है and this thought keeps continuously you know badgering my head and then I have to like you know find a way to get out of, because somewhere I feel ki like you know I'm a workaholic. I want to be very productive. Like you know every year I want something interesting coming out to the world from you know work wise, being acting, you know step ahead, you know step up the game. As I said, I want to be somewhere where I was not last year. Okay, so last year से ये साल मुझे और better करना था. But somewhere I feel that 2020 के लिए जो मेरे सपने थे, that you know I was extremely excited. This year I'm going to you know step up my game. This will be better than all the years that I've been in. So you know I have my expectations कि मैं next year को ना कुछ ऐसा धमाल करूँगी that adds feathers to my caps. And but I feel like a failure at times कि ये साल में वो कर नहीं पाए तो मैं पीछे आ गई एक step. So मेरे लिए 2020 में जो goals था, you know मैं आगे ना जाके पीछे रह गई. तो यू नो ये जो एक फिल्म बन गया है मेरे दिमाग में, एक ट्रेलर की तरह, फिल्म ट्रेलर की तरह बार बार आता रहता है. लाइक इफ आई एम टॉकिंग लाइक यू नो आई एम ऑल पॉजिटिव, यू नो आई एम ऑल हैप्पी, यू नो दिस इज आई एम हैविंग अ फ्री फ्लो हैप्पी कन्वर्सेशन. वंस एवरीथिंग डिम्स डाउन, लाइट्स ऑफ हो जाए, यू नो लाइट्स ऑफ, कैमरा ऑफ, ये सब चीजें मुझे बॉदर करता है. लाइक यू नो आई कुड नॉट बी वेयर आई वाज सपोज्ड टू बी. So ये नेगेटिव थॉट है, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. मुझे नहीं चाहिए ये बात, बट यू नो दिस कीप्स हैमरिंग मी. हाउ डू आई गेट रिड ऑफ दिस थॉट? लाइक आई फील लाइक आई एम नॉट इनफ, यू नो वो जो आई थिंक आई एम नॉट इनफ नहीं बोल सकती, बट समवेयर दिस इज ऑलवेज देयर. एंड मैं थोड़ी सी डिप्रेस भी फील करती हूँ बीच बीच में. सो दिस नेगेटिव थॉट को मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ? हाउ, व्हाट कैन आई डू अबाउट इट?
Well, look, firstly, let me tell you, one of the reasons for you being so successful is, from what I can see, is how genuine and honest you are to share what you shared. Because most people try to introvertly keep this notion, especially Leslie. My grassroots are Indian, as you know, and in our community, this element of ego and honor is very, very strong. To even in the industry, even more so, to admit that you're a human being, and that we go through trials and tribulations. So number one, my hats off to you for so openly and articulately giving across that message. And number two, I disagree with you, because I think you're doing extremely well during this process. I think that you have to have a look at the notion of when we started this conversation, that when you said everybody is feeling a certain way, and I said no, because there are those people in history, when markets have crashed, when viruses and pandemics have taken place, that they have actually created a success out of a crisis. I repeat that. They have created a success out of a crisis. Now, when they created a success out of a crisis, that success didn't happen necessarily during the crisis. It happened while they were working on the contingencies during the crisis. It happened while they were doing the inner work and asking the right questions. So that's my second point. However, let's move on to a strategy on if it's reoccurring for you, and what I have just spoken to you as a friend is not enough, then what do we do? So we take 2 steps back in this conversation, and we have a look at this notion of faith and fear. What you spoke was mainly fear. What you spoke was mainly choosing to make the mind an enemy. Yeah? Yet a same individual with the same circumstances as you doesn't feel the way you do. They chose faith. They chose their mind to be a friend. So what is the key difference? Now, this is human nature. I have it, okay? But I choose not to stay there. This is why awareness is important. So when I have those days, I really need to go back to the purpose of what is important. This is why gratitude is important. Kabhi aise email aata hai na, it's like a shock. I'm working on a deal. In my mind, it's 90% that deal is going to go through. I'm starting to buy the laddu. Everything is going. And then, sorry, Mr. Watts, we've decided not to go with this. Da, 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 da. At that moment, what does Anoop Watts do? I ground myself, and I remind myself that a number of different things, Leslie. There's so many different things, but the key is you change the habit, because what you are doing, when you do it over and over again, it's a habit. And what you need to do is you have an idea of what is your ideal self, how you want Leslie to think in these situations, how you want Leslie to be. But then Leslie is not going to be that Leslie if Leslie doesn't change the way she's thinking now. So by becoming aware and saying, let's say tomorrow you have this same situation where you feel a certain way, that's where you need to catch it. And this is where the science of psychology comes in. We give the brain too much credit. We give the mind too much credit. But it's very fickle. The brain will believe whatever you tell it. So this is where affirmations are very important, where you even look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I am successful. I am on the road to success. I am blessed. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am today. So therefore, what is it when I choose faith? For me, when I choose faith, I believe jo so hoega, achhe liye hoega na. It's for your best, yes? It's hard to understand at times. But then 5 years later, how many times in your life have you said, I'm so glad that happened? I got made redundant from work, right? When I was young, I used to be a very naughty boy. You know, I used to be, all I wanted to be was a rap artist. You know, I loved music. I wanted to be a musician. And in my community, you know, my family, like my father's side, they're all doctors, all lawyers, you know, really, really academic. And then there was me, which go, you know, there was no interest, you know, in academia. But, you know, I was blessed. My parents are very, very friendly, you know, and said, look, you know, if you want to follow this line of work, then this is what you want to do. But for years and years and years, my nickname was Nalak, right? You know what Nalak means, yeah?
Nalayak.
Yes. So for those English viewers, my viewers that are on, you know, it means like a no-hoper, okay? So this is very dangerous, you know, for any parents out there, you know. At the time, I didn't understand this. Now, as a coach, I fully understand how dangerous this is because this is language. And when you're being nicknamed in a jokingly manner, "Are nalak aa gaya," or "nalak kidhar hai," yeah, you believe this as your blueprint. This becomes your belief system. And for many, many years, I carried this with me, but not in a negative way, not saying, oh, I'm nalak, but I would make all the wrong choices. I was saying, well, they will think I'm a no-hoper anyway, so I might as well do no-hoper things, right? So my point being that when I started to I had to go the hard way. Yeah, I had to really go from the bottom to the top to educate myself. And, you know, luckily through the hard work, I did go through university and I learned and I met a lot of great people, but I had to change the language and I had to do that consistently. And when my brain started to believe that I'm not Nelak, I'm successful, you know, and I did this constantly, then through this notion of daily habits, and this goes back to what you were saying, you know, that what can you do, like, no, when after 20 days, 30 days, you get a little bit bored. This is why you should continue, because this is why by doing these, whether it's meditation, affirmations, you know, there's so many different things. By doing them consistently, you eradicate those thoughts, and then you will notice, you know, that actually I feel much better. And by the way, this is why it's important to have a coach. People, you know, they don't understand what is a coach, you know. Why do people think that they just need a coach for to grow their business for 1 year or something? No, you see, I don't label myself as a coach. I don't label myself as a consultant. I label myself as a friend. My clients are really diverse, you know. Some of them are high net worth business people. Some of them are just people who are living busy lives. But what I am is just like we're having this conversation, they will phone me up and say the same thing, you know, and I just help pick them up until they get the momentum. And I present them with, obviously, you know, we're really summarizing as much as possible to try and give benefit to all of us. But what we've also got to understand that there is a science and a formula to eradicate and achieve greatness.
Wow. तो can you आप थोड़ा हमें बताएं कि how can people connect with you on which social media platforms आप अवेलेबल हो, कौन से सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे, कौन से नाम से, so that जिनके जहन में doubts हो they can, you know, directly connect with you.
Just Instagram me. You know, I'm on Instagram at Anoop Watts. We have we have AW Manifest, which is the company, and the website's going to be launched in a week or 2 weeks' time. We've taken a few steps back just of with everything we were talking about, you know, हम बोल रहे थे कि ऐसे हमारे साथ क्यों ऐसा होता है, हमारे साथ, you know, तो इतने टक्कर आ रहे थे ना, जैसे वेब डेवलपर काम कर रहा था, वो बीच में वो चल गए, दूसरा आया था, तो ये वो, but you know, if I'm trying to share with you, तो ऐसे काम करना है, ऐसे सोचना है, तो I have to do the same, and in this way I become an ambassador also, you know. So the approach is life happening to you or is it happening for you? So it's been 2 months trying to develop the website, and I'm so happy it didn't launch, Leslie, because during that time so many beautiful manifestations have happened, so many wonderful people have now come on board that they're involved not only in the services, but they're also involved in the branding, you know. And now I'm just like, wow, you know, that's why choosing faith was a better option. So at the moment, you know, through Instagram, feel free to message me, follow my content, and I try and share as much as I can to try and just remind each other that it's okay.
I have this question कि आपके लाइफ के कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग मोमेंट्स ऐसे बताए दैट यू नो आपने मैनिफेस्ट किया, you have manifested those moments into your life, and then you think, I am lucky, I could visualize them and I got them, and now I'll help people get them.
So you want an actual example of this? There's hundreds of examples, but मैं आपके साथ ये शेयर करूंगा कि पहले से ये देखना है तो आपका बिलीफ सिस्टम क्या होता है ना, तो हमारे लिए ऐसे पहले से when we were talking about the mind and this higher power beyond what we are discussing, beyond our physical activity of working, you know, we have this power of the subconscious mind, we have this power of the soul. So when we bring in those realms, sabhi ka definition alag hota hai. Some will call it the universe, some will call it God, you know. So hamare liye it's God, right? So that does not mean to say that the person who believes in God cannot manifest, yeah? So there's a law of manifestation. So when you ask me personally, everything that has manifested and not manifested is directly the work of God, okay? Now, when I'm looking at whether it's with God or not God, I'm looking at another word now called intention, okay? तो आप सोच रहे हैं कि मैंने अमेरिका में शूटिंग करना है ना? Now, the very fact that you say that you're thinking about this is very good, because focus goes where energy flows, you know, so you're constantly thinking about that. So you're vibrating yourself at a certain energy. We as human beings are energy, and we choose how we vibrate as an energy. So by this very thought process of consciously trying to in-tune ourselves with a particular manifestation. So if I want to manifest success within a business venture, then I have to in-tune that. I have to see it as it's already done. Fake it till you make it. Act as if it's there. That's one form of manifestation. And guess what? This is where the law of attraction comes in, you know? That's how it works. There's a real science behind it. Now, from going to that example of calling me Nalak to becoming a senior teacher,
Yeah.
that's manifestation. Now, how did I manifest from that to that? Jo mere friend circle hai na, they might bump into me in the street and they'll say, how, you know, how did you go from that to that? But let me tell you something, and your parents would have told you this, and most parents of the viewers on this channel would have told you this. Choose your friends wisely, because your circle is, association is everything. If you choose to hang around with drunkards, you'll become a drunkard. If you choose to hang around with holy people, you'll become holy, you know, etc., etc. So when we're talking about this law of manifestation and the science, it's all about your environment. You know, in my book, I've written like this chapter, which I really love, you know, it's about creating a palace of inspiration. And this palace of inspiration is all about, you know, you create your reality, you create what's around you. So your bedroom, your car, your office, your friends, your clothes, you know, you get to choose this. What's a palace? You know, palace is a place of beauty. And whatever that beauty means to you might be different. Well, it is different to me, and it will be different because everybody has their own definition. But you can create that physically, you know, you create it physically. We were talking about the art behind me, you know, in my mind, before that was there, it was there. Before the Taj Mahal was there, in somebody's mind, it was there. And then it became a reality. So this
Wow.
manifestation element starts in the mind, and then from there it is created. And that's why I said this new word of intention. So we set the intent, we set the intention and the habits accordingly. And then, Leslie, honestly, you know, मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूं ना तो ये समराइज करने के लिए, भाई कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं है पर काम है, लाइक मतलब मेडिटेशन इसमें मैनिफेस्टेशन होती है, विजुअलाइजेशन में भी मेडिटेशन होती है. हमने अभी डाइट की नहीं बात की, हमने पानी की नहीं बात की, हमने एक्सरसाइज की बात नहीं की, ठीक है. So all of this is part and parcel of manifestation, is living life on your terms. But Leslie, let me tell you the number one secret. If you want to say to me, if everybody who didn't believe in me when I was down, when I was a no-hoper, when I will one day very soon post pictures of how I failed my exams and I'll show you my certificates. And if somebody says to me, how did you get so successful? How did you manifest in abundance? Yeah. Number one, I've already said, and I will never shy away from saying that nothing happens without the grace of the Lord, right? But second to that, and this is something we can all do, whether we believe in God or not, and this is the secret. Give, give, give. Love, love, love. Embed compassion in the heart, because whether we're talking about business, whether we're talking about our own issues, like you were talking about, आपके दिमाग में कभी स्ट्रेस आ जाता है, नेगेटिव थिंकिंग आ जाता है, जो भी हम सोच रहे हैं, the greatest antidote to relieving any issues is by giving to others, because all of these issues that we're discussing is about the self. When we give to others, not only do we feel good, and we know that, you know, किसी को रोटी खिलाते, किसी के लिए ये दरवाजा पड़ते, ये वो थोड़ी सी खुशी चढ़ती है ना. The more you do it, the more you compound, the bigger it gets. And then we're in this realm of whether you want to call it kismet, whether you want to call it grace, whether you want to call it the law of attraction. Good things will start to happen, but you don't do it for the sake of testing. you do it from a place of sincerity. And this is the secret, whether you're rich or poor, whether you have a business or you don't, whether you're a man or a woman, a mother or a father, a husband or a wife, this is the general law. Leslie, the more you give with sincerity, the more compassion you develop. And when I say more, my clients say, but kitna, you know, how much,
Yeah.
and I always say, until you feel the pinch, because this is the law of manifestation. This is the law of abundance. This is how more comes, Leslie.
वाओ ओके क्विकली ये हमें जरा बता दीजिए फूड के बारे में लाइक फॉर बिकॉज आप आपका बुक में यू हैव मेंशन अबाउट फूड स्लीपिंग हैबिट्स रीडिंग हैबिट्स इसके बारे में जरा इलाबोरेट कीजिए that what are the things that we should practice because I have read in Gita as you were you have been talking about Bhagavad-Gita सात्विक खाना बहुत essential है for clean thoughts clean lifestyle and I have also seen कि कभी भी मेरा बॉडी में वेट थोड़ा सा वेट पुट ऑन हो जाता है as I said I maintain a certain diet and everything but बीच बीच में ऐसे days आते हैं when there are cheating days and वो cheating diet continue भी करता है ये साल में हुआ है दूसरे साल में नहीं हो जाता बट द फैक्ट दिस इज नोबडी आस्किंग मी और आई एम नॉट आंसरेबल टू एनीवन बिकॉज देयर इज नो शूट एंड ऑल हैपनिंग तो मेरा चीटिंग हैबिट थोड़ा एक्सटेंसिवली चलता है एंड देन आई रियलाइज कि आई हैव पुट ऑन वेट हियर देयर and go back to sattvic lifestyle and as you mentioned drinking water iska hame zara bataye that what are the things that we should follow for a good healthy life to be successful um, physically and internally to feel good.
Well, the general universal basis is you are what you eat, and you are what you think also. Okay, so those are the two concepts here. Now, you mentioned in the Gita, about Sattvic, and actually, this is very profound because it talks about Rajaguna, Sattaguna, Tamaguna, which is the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. And from these three energies, let's not forget we're all human beings. Kabhi kabhi, you're doing everything right, like you're eating right, you're doing everything right, but you still feel a little bit off. You phone your friend. वो बोल रहे हैं हाँ पता नहीं आज क्या है मुझको भी कुछ ऐसे ही लग रहा है ना कुछ अजीब जैसे लग रहा है and you speak to someone else they go हाँ आज दिल उदास है so sometimes this Rajaguna Sattva Guna Tamaguna is explained as the three different modes of material nature so the energies affect everybody so this is a very good point that you made that firstly, we can't feel like perfect every day, and we have off days, but know that sometimes it's just the energy in the air. And then these three modes of material nature divides into so many different sections, such as your character, and actions, and as you rightly said, food. Okay. Now, when we're looking at foods in the mode of goodness, we're looking at the basics of good food, green food, etc. Now, what I practice is intermittent fasting, and this is what I try and get a lot of my clients to practice. So for 16 hours, no eating, 8 hours eating. Okay.
And
now,
intermittent fasting.
Yes, yeah, this is so for me it works wonders because when I used to eat breakfast and lunch, I would enjoy, but फिर सुस्ती आ जाती है ना जब मैं काम करता हूँ थोड़ी सी ऐसे नींद आती है and people like ourselves like you said you're very ambitious you want to keep working then it's also very important to keep these energy levels up so the number one thing, again, to very simply for the viewers today to try and understand, you see what I've done is, as part of my book, I have this area which is the cohesion stamp, and you bring this question up. So I've broken it down into 8, 12, and 8. So your 8 hours is based on your sleep. Now, when I say based on your sleep, that's not based on the hours of your sleep alone, because you might be able to sleep for 4 hours and be okay, brilliant. Another might be needing 8 hours. That's a different conversation. But what I talk about with my philosophy is when I said to you, you create your own inspirational palace, right? This discipline, you have to firstly commit your life. You wake up to, when I work with my clients, Leslie, I tell them, you know, it's like a new birth. Yeah. You want this, you want that, but you have to be ready to commit and be disciplined. So tell yourself, आपके small habits क्या है ना? सोने के पहले, what does your bedroom look like? All the clothes folded. Is everything neat and tidy? Turn your phone off and put it on airplane mode. You know, these radioactive energies from telephones are very, very bad. You know, so you should always put your phone on airplane mode or completely off when you sleep. Radioactivity, bahut kharab, okay? So it's very hard to exist in the world without it, but you have the power to turn it off when you sleep at night. So now you've done that. Now you wake up and at your discipline time, whatever that time is, and you're in that nice environment. Now, when we're talking about food and drink, it's about hydration. Indian philosophy is the king of how to drink water. Okay?
Wow.
Because pehle se bolte thande pani nahi peena. 100% correct. You know? Drink lukewarm water. If you can, you know, मुझको मालूम है filter पानी मिलता है ये वो, but copper में does wonders, yeah? So you can drink from copper. But first things first, your body has literally been dead all night, you know? So you need to hydrate it, you know? This is the first thing to ignite. And then from there, once you've hydrated the body, minimum 2 liters a day you should have, okay? And there where I go on to this sort of element of whether you do intermittent fasting or not, portions are very important. How much are you eating, you know? So sometimes, like, you know, as much as India is the king on how we should drink water, you know, another thing about drinking water is in the morning before you brush your teeth, your mouth is full of antiseptic properties, you know, so we should take advantage of this. So there's a science to how we drink the water as well. But in regards to how much we eat, India simultaneously has the highest rate of diabetes, second to none across the world, you know? So with this huge rate in diabetes, that's telling us something about our food habits in a particular geographical area, etc. So when we talk about this discipline, we need to be 3-4 days of a program that I set, okay, which I will share with you in a couple of weeks, that you can share with your followers, etc. And then what that enables you to do is, it's not too hard on yourself, but you have to be committed. You have to say, no, boss, enough is enough. I'm ready. I need to do something different. That's all you need. If you have that and you follow this for 2 weeks, then you get momentum. Then you want to do it. Then it doesn't feel like hard work, you know? It becomes, it's like exercise, you know? You don't want to feel that it's work. You want to enjoy it. You want it to be addictive. You want to go, oh, कब मेरा time आएगा jogging करने के लिए, exercise करने के लिए, you know? That's how it should be. It shouldn't be go, oh, Monday आ गया, gym का दिन है. You know, it's completely the wrong way to see it. So there's a lot that goes into it. But to simplify it, hydrating, eating, snacking and eating less is one way to keep productive and formulate a good science. But once we get into a nice discipline, this is why I get excited about this inspired palace element, because all of the different teachings come into it. Because then, Leslie, when you do this for 1 week or 2 weeks, you start to feel like the commander of your life. you become the master of your senses instead of your senses becoming the master of you. And then you wake up every morning and then you feel that, yes, I'm ready, you know? Yes, you know, how wonderful that you can wake up every morning like that. And how wonderful is it that it's not even hard to achieve, just a little bit of discipline.
Wow. Thank you so much. There's so much to talk actually. बातें खत्म नहीं होगी. And you know, there's a huge appreciation for your Instagram. आपने अभी recently अपने childhood के बारे में post करना शुरू किया है. And that is so inspiring. Like, you know, आप
Okay.
बचपन के वो सारे memorable moments को याद करके कर रहे हो वो post, तो it's like you're telling your journey, plus आप हमें भी inspire कर रहे हो कि be proud of your, you know, journey. So,
And enjoy the journey. That's the key.
yeah.
You know, you don't want to get to 60 years old with lakh rupees, crorepati, and just think, wow, you know, that 20 years went fast and I didn't even enjoy it. That's the key. That's the absolute key, to enjoy the process and every single day. That's what living life on your own terms is. You know, the other day, Leslie, I went to bed. I tried to go to bed at 9 p.m. as much as possible, and I'll take a book with me. And I just thought to myself, you know, sitting here, reading a book, these are the finer things in life, you know? And then when we get to 60 and we were just like reading a book, relaxing at home, what's the difference, you know? It's just, we think we get a different feeling, which we can have now.
I have this question कि when you were growing up and अभी आप वो moments को याद कर रहे हो, तो looking back, what did you want to become? What were your goals? Like when you wanted to grow up, and have you become what you wanted to grow up? Yeah, you diverted your path and you became something better. क्या, can you talk about it?
I always, when I love music, I love dance, I love being creative, and I love writing. So writing certainly is something that actually something I wanted to do that I never thought I would be able to do is what I'm doing. And the musical side of things, I also own and run 2 successful dance companies. So I was able to manifest, create, and keep that hobby going, which is very important, because for me, when and it's mainly Bhangra, you know, Bhangra music, Bhangra dance, you know, I've got a very special relationship with Bhangra, yeah, you know, and my parents bought me a doll, so and I started learning how to play the doll early on, and, you know, learning how to dance early on. So my dreams and my aspirations when I was young was very much to become a musician. But my parents always gave me a very good message, which was, you can still have that dream, you can still have that aspiration, but always have a plan B, you know? And that plan B is where education came in, you know? Education is when ek darwaza band ho jata hai, another 10 can open, you know? So that helped me, and that was 100% true. But I think for me, I used to hate school, you know? I used to hate the smell of school. I used to hate learning. I used to hate everything about school. And then I became a teacher.
Wow.
So, you know, it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to become a teacher, but what was my purpose and desire was to help others, to try and change the lives of others. And teaching was the first medium that enabled me to do that. And then from that, you know, I thought, hold on, I could still do the dance whilst I'm doing teaching, you know? So then I was doing that, and then I got a senior. Abhi now, you know, my Indian parents, was when they could speak to family members, वैसे बोलता, oh, abhi senior teacher लगा मेरा लड़का, you know, it's not nalak anymore, you know. So then when I got made redundant, then I was like, this is the end of the world, not just for me, but for my family, you know. But my dream always been, my mom used to say to me when we first went to India, because I was born here in the UK. So we first went to India when I was 6 years old, 1986. And I remember when I was at the airport and I would see men walking around with a briefcase and a suit. And I used to look at them, you know, and then I used to say to my mom, oh, you know, I want to be a businessman. I want to be a businessman. And I do remember mom, I'd forgotten, you know, and mom said to me, she goes, see, she goes, she goes, you're doing what you said you wanted to do when you were 6. You're traveling around the world, you know, you've got your suit, your briefcase and your suitcase. And so this is, you know, the power of understanding visualization and intention, because at the same time, if we focus on the wrong things, we can manifest the wrong things, which is why they say be careful what you wish for. So then while I was teaching, I was dreaming of traveling the world and nothing else. I never thought about the jet lag, Leslie. You know, the jet lag was, oh, I even had to go to the hospital to try and get advice, you know, because from the UK to Hong Kong, which is my regular place of travel, 12 hours flight, 8 to 9 hours time difference. I would fly there, I would stay there. From there, I'd go Vietnam, Thailand, Japan, China. 2-3 weeks, I come back here, I rest for 1 week, and I go back again. I do this for 9 months of the year for the last 10 years. And for me, it's like a dream, but not in the sense of a dream come true. It's like a dream that is not reality because I'm so tired all the time, you know? But obviously,
You are a walking, talking example of manifestation gone right. And I think that's one of the best things. इसीलिए everybody looks up to you, and all your posts on Instagram are so inspiring. You ask the right questions. You are always bringing up a conversation among us. You like आपके questions में ऐसा power होता है that, you know, it brings out some memories from our lives that we want to share openly. We don't care. So thank you for doing that to us, and I hope you like come back again on the show, maybe 2021, and you know we can all talk about how things have worked out for us, and you know you can guide us regarding you know the year ahead, how to deal with that. Thank you so much.
I'm just saying, Leslie, yeah, before I go again, not only thank you, but, you know, during the start of this conversation, I said to you that I'm very observant, and I do have an intuition. It's not a special power, but I do have an intuition. And from what I can see and feel from the work that you're doing, I think, you know, you're doing amazingly well. Keep up the good work. Keep the momentum going. Jo aapke sapne, you know, they're already written for you, and I'm really excited to see your journey and see where you're going. So God bless that path, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anoop. Take care. See you soon. And I will be also implementing the things that you keep posting on your Instagram, as well as whatever you guided us. It was really insightful. And I think you help a lot of people feel good about themselves. Thank you. Take care. I'm posting this right now.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.